Did you know that some of the most dangerous places on Earth have a higher risk of accidents than others? In fact, certain popular tourist spots see thousands of injuries annually. That's why it's so important to do your research and know the risks before you travel. Whether you're a seasoned adventurer or just planning your first trip abroad, being aware of the deadliest destinations can save your life. When it comes to traveling, we often focus on the excitement of exploring new places and experiencing different cultures. But the reality is, some countries and cities pose serious threats to visitors. From war-torn regions to natural disaster hotspots, the world can be a dangerous place. As travelers, it's our responsibility to educate ourselves on the risks involved and take necessary precautions to stay safe. Every year, thousands of tourists flock to popular destinations without doing their due diligence. They might glance over travel warnings, ignore local advice, or take unnecessary risks. And that's exactly how accidents happen. It's crucial to stay informed about local conditions, respect local customs, and always be aware of your surroundings. So if you're thinking of planning a trip in 2025, make sure you do your research and avoid these deadliest destinations. Trust me, it's better to be safe than sorry. When you're traveling, you're exposed to a range of risks from petty theft to serious health threats. Political unrest, natural disasters, and even health risks can all pose a danger to tourists. Take, for instance, the Zika virus outbreak that swept through South America a few years ago, or the protests in Hong Kong that turned violent and left tourists stranded. The truth is, even the most beautiful destinations can turn deadly in an instant. It's not just about avoiding conflict zones or areas prone to natural disasters. Even seemingly safe destinations can have hidden dangers. Take, for instance, the rise of pickpocketing in popular tourist spots in Europe, or the scams that target tourists in Southeast Asia. As travelers, we need to be constantly on the lookout for potential threats. From altitude sickness in the Himalayas to shark attacks in coastal towns, the risks are endless. And it's not just about physical harm, even mental health can be affected by the stresses of traveling. So what can you do to stay safe on the road? The key is to be informed, be prepared, and be vigilant. When it comes to traveling, it's always better to err on the side of caution. Take the time to research your destination, read travel warnings, and talk to locals. Stay informed about local conditions and be prepared for any eventuality. Of course, there are some destinations that are just more dangerous than others. War-torn countries like Yemen and Somalia, for instance, are off-limits for tourists. But even in supposedly safe countries, there can be hidden dangers. Take, for instance, the gang violence in certain parts of Mexico or the terrorist attacks in Sri Lanka. As travelers, it's our responsibility to be aware of these risks and take necessary precautions. So what are the deadliest destinations to avoid in 2025? From the streets of Caracas to the beaches of Bali, we'll take you on a journey to the most dangerous places on Earth. Let's start with Venezuela, a country that's been plagued by political unrest and economic chaos. The capital city, Caracas, is a hotspot for crime and violence, with a murder rate that's one of the highest in the world. Then there's South Sudan, a country ravaged by civil war and famine. The capital city, Juba, is a dangerous place with reports of kidnappings, robberies, and even massacres. Next up is Somalia, a country that's been a haven for pirates and terrorists. The capital city, Mogadishu, is a no-go zone for tourists, with a high risk of bombings, kidnappings, and shootings. And then there's North Korea, a country that's notorious for its human rights abuses and strict control over its citizens. The capital city, Pyongyang, is a place where tourists are closely monitored, and any dissent is crushed. But what about the most dangerous destination of all? Drumroll, please. It's Honduras, a country in Central America that's been plagued by gang violence and drug trafficking. The capital city, Tegucigalpa, is a hotspot for crime, with a murder rate that's one of the highest in the world. Tourists are often targeted by gangs who see them as easy prey. And with a corrupt police force that's often complicit in the violence, it's a place that's best avoided altogether. So there you have it, the deadliest destinations to avoid in 2025. From war-torn countries to crime-ridden cities, these places are a no-go zone for tourists. Remember, safety should always be your top priority when traveling. Do your research, stay informed, and be vigilant, and you'll be well on your way to having a safe and enjoyable trip. In conclusion, traveling is all about exploring new places and experiencing different cultures. But it's also about being aware of the risks involved and taking necessary precautions. Remember, safety should always come first, and with a little research and preparation, you can avoid the deadliest destinations on Earth. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you traveled to any of these destinations? What were your experiences like? And if you're planning a trip in 2025, make sure to do your research and stay safe on the road. Don't forget to watch our next video on travel safety tips. It might just save your life.